Was always trying to make people laugh, and that was what I enjoyed about and I miss about him.
Welcome to the Real Appreciation Podcast. Today I have with me a guest whose life and career could be a movie. He is a stand-up comedian, an actor who's been in films such as Joe Dirt and Tommy Boy. And speaking of Tommy Boy, he is the brother of the late, great Chris Farley. And recently he's been crushing it out there on his stand-up comedy tour. So please welcome to the show, my guest, Kevin Farley.
Hello, David. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Kevin?
Today, pretty good. Some days are good, some days are bad. Today, I feel good.
Good. Good is what we want to hear. And I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy day to do this.
It's my pleasure. It's not such a busy day. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, appreciate it. No, thanks for having me out.
You and I actually have something surprising in common. Both of us have had technically starred in a movie alongside Academy Award nominee Eric Roberts.
Ah, yeah, Eric. Yeah, no, he was in a movie I directed called Paranormal Activity and Paranormal something.
Paranormal movie.
Paranormal movie. I forgot already. No, it was funny. He was very funny.
Eric's great. One of the best people I've ever worked with.
Yeah, no, he was great. A lot of fun. Very nice guy. Yeah, he's a very good actor too. It was nice to be in the presence of someone that's, really got his craft, down. He's been around also. He knows the ins and outs of the business.
So a lot of people watching this probably know this, but in the case that they don't, your brother Chris Farley was one of the most talented people of all time. And I've got to ask you, what was it like growing up with Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of different sides to Chris rather than I guess the public does. So yeah, I mean, I remember him just being kind of in a shy way a lot, but he was always trying to make people laugh, and that was what I enjoyed about and I miss about him. We would hang out and it would be one laugh after another, but being brothers, we were very close. So we were pretty competitive also in sports and that kind of thing, mainly in sports.
Did he inspire you to get into acting?
Yeah, I did. I was selling asphalt with my dad's business. And he went down to Second City and I didn't want to sell asphalt anymore, So I went down to Second City and started doing classes. And then he got Saturday Night Live and left. And I just remained in Chicago and doing classes and touring and that kind of thing. So he was the one, when I first went down to Second City, I thought, wow, this is a cool thing to do. And it seemed like something like regular people could get into. I didn't have to be a super thespian, so it appealed to me. And so, yeah, he got me into it. Yeah, for sure.
You had one of those blink and you miss it kind of cameos in Tommy Boy during the wedding scene with your brother. How did that opportunity come about for you?
That was the first movie I think Chris ever did, and certainly the first lead. Maybe Wayne's World's first, but I just asked him, can I be in a movie? And we had a couple of scenes that were cut out. That's the way it goes sometimes. But it was definitely my first movie. And so, I wasn't going to get any really big part. So it was nice to just be on set, see how it all ran.
Well, you're also more than just an actor. You are a phenomenal stand-up comedian who's been performing for a while now, all over. What's your stand-up comedy origin story? Like, what inspired you to do this?
I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I just wanted something extra to do. I used to do improv a lot. And then the problem with improv is you have to get like 5 guys together, and it's really hard with everybody's schedule because nobody makes any money. So you got to do it kind of like a pickup basketball game. some people make it and some people don't, you know. And so I still have that urge to perform, and I really love to perform. So I went up to the comedy comedy store in LA, and I asked Pauly Shore, who I'm pretty good friends with, can I just go up on stage? He said, yeah, just come in Sundays, Mondays when everybody else does. I'm like, thanks, Pauly. So I started going up there Saturdays and Mondays, Sundays and Mondays, maybe. Yeah. And, with stand up, you just got to go on and, you can't, there's no shortcuts. You write a joke and you try it out on stage, And so you just keep doing that and keep doing that. And that's what I did. And I've been doing that, I guess, around 12, 13, maybe 13 years now,
Wow.
Yeah, long time. 2010, maybe. Something like that.
We'll get back to your stand-up career in a bit, though. But a few weeks ago, I had interviewed on this show Jonathan Goldstein, also known as the dad from the hit Nickelodeon series Drake and Josh. And in the wedding episode, and anyone who knows me will tell you the same thing, Kevin, I am one of the biggest Drake and Josh fans out there, so I have to ask you about the time you portrayed a cop in the wedding episode where Drake and Josh break down in the middle of nowhere. For whatever reason, you are uncredited in this episode. Do you know why that is?
In the wedding thing, I'm uncredited?
Yeah, that's weird. Like, I've always wondered that.
Yeah, I don't know why either. Sometimes you just forget to put it on, I guess. But, yeah, that's weird because I know I did Drake and Josh a bunch, maybe a couple times, I mean, I was always, during those years, I did a lot of kid shows and this and that. And I played a lot of cops, So I probably was a cop. I don't know. That's weird.
Talk to me about what Together was in your experience portraying a parody of boy bands.
Together was a project started by MTV, and it was the height of the boy band era. And they put together kind of a fake boy band like the Monkees, and they had different types that they had, which is the older brother type, the good-looking guy, the younger brother, the dewy-eyed youngster, and the heartthrob. And so all these archetypes, they wanted to find a guy that fit each one of them. And I fit the older brother type because I was 36 years old when I was in a boy band. So then they put that together, and we had a movie that we shot up in Vancouver. And, it went really well. And we started a sitcom. And during the sitcom, we had like one song that we would dance to and this and that. And we toured a little bit too. But they're all really funny songs done by really good producers and writers. One of the songs that we had is I Know My Calculus. It says you plus me equals us, which is our biggest hit. And the other big hit was the hardest part of breaking up is getting back your stuff, which is true. Which is true. And then, yeah, we had all kinds of hits on there. It went well. And then, unfortunately, Michael Cuccione, who played the younger type, he passed away, at 16. So it was devastating. And that's kind of where it all ended after that. So it was very sad.
In 2001, you and David Spade share the spotlight in Joe Dirt. Talk to me about any memories you have working with David.
Well, David's been a friend for many years. Since, I guess, I don't know, a long time. I've played a lot of golf with him. I opened for David for years on the road. And he did Joe Dirt, I think it was in 1 and 2. And so, Dave's Dave, he's pretty much how you see him on TV, He's fun to hang out with because he's very funny. He's hysterical. So working with him is just, he's very easy going on set. He's not like a real hard guy on set. He's pretty easy going, and he loves to do funny stuff. So he was always open to ideas and this and that. So I've known him for so long, and I worked with him on many occasions, and so it's just like working with your buddy.
He's always been one of those dream guests on this podcast.
Maybe one day he'll say yes.
Well, I think there's something special, poetic even, about seeing you share the screen with David, especially given all David and Chris's history.
Right. A lot of people say that, yeah, but I'm not the same kind of comedy as Chris. And I mean, when I do stand up, everybody's like, well, do Van Down by the River or something like that. No, I'm more of a very low key kind of guy, not as bombastic. But yeah, I think people would like to see he and I out there doing stuff. It kind of brought back memories for a lot of people.
I've got a question from one of our listeners in the United Kingdom, so shout out to the UK, and they ask, what is something about Chris Farley that people might not know but should?
He was very good at sports, like football and everything, but he was also just shy, which I don't think people really knew. He was more of an introvert, more than people really probably knew, and a deeper thinker, but then I think he came across on television.
As we wind down here, I wanted to talk to you about gratitude and appreciation, which is something extremely important to me, as well as mental health. And when I wake up and before I go to bed, I always say 3 things that I'm grateful for. So, Kevin, with that being said, what are 3 things that you are grateful for?
Well, that is true. I think gratefulness is something that whenever I'm in complaining or in a real foul mood or angry, it really is a cure for anger. And then I usually write them down, because then I can see them and this and that. But whenever I'm angry, it means I'm not grateful. So, and I think the biggest thing is my faith, because I'm a Catholic, and my parents instilled a real faith in the family, and I try to be a good Catholic. I try to go to mass. I try to obey the all the catechism of the church. So I would say I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for my health, and I'm very grateful for my family, my wife, and my stepchild. They mean a lot to me. And so those kinds of things, I would say my faith and my family, and then my health, those things I'm very grateful for. And, being in a job I really like, so I think those are the main ones. I always have to remind myself. Yeah.
That's amazing. Those are amazing things. And it's a great point you brought up about journaling. That is one of the best things you can do for your mental health.
I absolutely think so. Write down what you're grateful for. We forget so easily, because life doesn't have to be the way it is right now. It always changes. And if it's going well right now, it might turn. But if it's going really bad, it'll turn too. So you have to write down what you're grateful for, because you also have a different perception on where you at right now, and your perception will change, and it could be false. It's very false, most of the time.
I'm curious, how does your stand-up comedy differ from your work in film and television?
Oh, I just finished a movie called Pickleball, which will be out this year, and it was nice to get on that and just do some acting. I really enjoy acting because it's something that's slower paced, and being in front of an audience can be a little tricky, and that's sort of a calmer atmosphere where you can really sort of relax and be very creative during that time, and then stand up, you got to bring it, so they're very different.
Well, this was a lot of fun, man. So where can people find you?
My Instagram is Farley Farm, And I think that's my Facebook too. And then my Twitter is I'm Kevin Farley. And my website is Kevin Farley Official. So all those different things. My YouTube is Kev Farrell. So shout out to my YouTube. I have a lot of stuff on it.
Shout out to his YouTube. Please give Kevin a follow. I will link his socials in the description below. And be sure not to miss Kevin Farley performing stand-up live and in person. Tickets are available now on his website at kevinfarleyofficial.com. I'm David Clair-Bennett. He is Kevin Farley. Thank you all for listening to Real Appreciation. Until next time, love yourself, protect your mental health, and remember that you matter. I will see you next week on an all-new episode of Real Appreciation. Thank you again, Kevin.
Thank you, David.